Hi, you are listening to Organism, a flowcast where we question everything we think we know and don't know, like why do we do the things we do? How can we unlearn to relearn? It's about some personal stories, low moments, funny adventures, nutrition, mental and physical health. Anyways, big questions like how the hell do we do this thing called life? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.
Hi.
Hello again.
Hello, everyone. What's up? What's up?
What's good?
What's going on?
How are you, Michele?
What's popping? I'm very happy.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. What makes you happy?
Today I was just thinking, I really was thinking today, like, how grateful I am. I feel like the past couple of months have been the happiest I've been in my life. I really feel like it. But it's almost like a relationship, right? Where when you're a teenager, you think you're in love, but you don't really know. And when you're an adult, you realize, oh, you didn't really know what love was. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the same. I'm pretty sure I felt happy at other times, really happy. But then because now I've had to, like, I grew up, I know more.
Mm-hmm. You know yourself more. You know what you want. You know what's what and what's not.
Yeah. So now,
Period.
Today when I reflected, I was like, yeah, now I feel like, yes, I'm truly happy. And it comes from like an awareness.
Period.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
Yeah. I feel like it took a while.
I mean, over the years, I've got to see you transform in many different ways. Mm-hmm. And I'm like experiencing the person I knew you could become, like what I saw for you, not what I necessarily envisioned for you, but just seeing that other version of yourself, like what's inside. I'm like, this is, it's going to be trials and tribulations up in this, but one day, if one day she's going to get there. And to be honest, I'm really pleased to say that I feel like you have gotten there. I mean, everyone's a work in progress. We're continually growing. 5 years from now, things are going to feel and be a little bit different, right? But I'm witnessing, the transformation in real time. And as your partner, I mean, it's been a struggle bus a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
It's not.
But easy. I'm glad we made it out on the other side.
Once you pass a certain threshold, then it's like,
That's true.
We have another episode where we'll talk about it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But it's in everything. You have to find your,
we're all just
balance, kind of like,
we're like babies in a pool, just trying to figure out how to swim. Like everyone's like trying to figure out how to do this thing we call life. Quite literally, like
stay tuned
for real. So it's like, it's almost as if you're blind and you're deaf, and then all of a sudden you start hearing and seeing and feeling and all that stuff, and just exploring what's outside of you, but most importantly, you begin to explore what's inside of you, and it's just like it's next level. Yeah. Well, damn, I love that response, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
But I am so excited to get into this topic. I mean, last episode we shot, it was about body positivity with our friend Victoire, who's a social worker, and I can't wait for our listeners to hear that one because it was very, very interesting. Little disclaimer, Victoire likes to talk with her hands, so you might hear a lot of okay, and I
like a
we
DJ.
love you, Victoire. It's just been like, okay, well, the audio, but it's okay.
It's okay. Who cares?
It's a work in progress, It
is.
And we want people to show up as they are and express themselves in whatever way that appeases them. So for this topic, it is, what does it mean to be truly balanced in life? the underlying unhealthy habits that come with an active lifestyle.
Good subject.
This one I feel like is really important because, I mean, speaking from personal experience, you know, being active literally majority of my life, from sports to endurance to weight training to like my whole life experience up to this point in exercise, sports, and just movement, you begin to see things in a different light. Like some of the things that I was doing maybe like 5 years ago, I look back now and I'm just like, oh, that was actually not good. You know, there's just so much, you know, and it's like as you unlearn, you start to relearn, or you learn new things. So yeah, so I think a good thing to ask ourselves is, yeah, what does it truly mean to have a balanced lifestyle? Because of course, as we always like to say, to each their own, right? But I also think it's important for someone to reflect on their overall routine, their fitness, nutrition, and sleep routine. I mean, that's all encompassed in a balanced lifestyle, you know, including work and family, whatever. But like we're specifically trying to focus on fitness. I think it's important for someone to reflect on their overall like routine and exercise and nutrition, and ask themselves, damn, like, is my life really balanced? Because I feel like for people who have, like myself, who have been working out for a long time, you just get used to going and going and going and going and going, and you could be tired and still going. But because you're so focused on just that, not just the adrenaline, I feel like it's conditioned. You know, you're conditioned to just be like, oh my God, my neck, my back. You know, I'm feeling like
my neck, my back,
First, you gotta put your. I don't know all the instructions. I'm just saying. Do you get where I pulled that one from? For all the Cat Williams fans out there, if you didn't get this one, I don't know.
You're not.
First, you got to put the baking soda. It's like, I'm not saying I know. But yeah, like I found myself just waking up being like, oh my gosh, like everything's tight, or like my neck's in pain and blah 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 blah, and then you just go the next day and you're doing heavy ass squats, and you're running on the treadmill for like an hour doing high intensity, you're not stretching and all that stuff. So I guess for me, I think maybe as we continue this conversation, I'll be able to define what it means to have a balanced lifestyle for me. But I want to say that I think that the majority of what it means to have a balanced lifestyle is encompassed in always reflecting on how you feel, how you physically feel, and how you mentally feel. Because as you keep on going physically, you also choose to keep on going mentally, and you could really drive yourself to a point of like anxiety and like, you know, right? And just being mentally unbalanced, because it's like, I'm just gonna get up and I'm gonna go and I'm do this. And that's a beautiful thing to kind of be like, no, if there's something affecting you or whatever, like you go and you push yourself and you show up and you put it in 100%, even 30%, you know, shit, sometimes even 1% is better than 0 or -1, you know. But I've learned that you get to a point where it's like, okay, I need to draw back a little, you know, because this thing that I believed was helping me or pushing me towards something that I thought was helping me is actually working against me. You know, so I feel like not just taking your exercise and your nutrition and sticking to the same thing all the time may not actually work, because the factors in your life are always changing. The variables are always changing, you know? Like life is constant, but the variables in it are not always consistent, you know? So, yeah, that's my answer thus far.
Okay.
And I can't wait to dig into the specifics based on personal experience. What is a balanced lifestyle to you?
I feel like I don't want to say it's a tough question. I think now that I'm like thinking about it, it is about being the ability to be flexible. And like you said, to reflect back and ask yourself questions all the time. Because when I think about it, you would think that a balanced lifestyle is like almost like everything is on kind of schedule. You know, where, oh, I know on Monday I'm going to go to the gym, and I know that on this day I'm going to cook, and I know that on that day I'm going to stretch, and I know that on that day I'm going to school or to work, and I know on that day I'm going to do this and that, and then repeat forever is unrealistic. And a lot of the time, you realize as you take on new healthy habits, like let's say you want to add meditation, right? Uh, Sometimes you kind of drop another healthy habits just because you realize you're adding, as you're starting to add a lot of healthy habits in your lifestyle, you're kind of like, it's hard to schedule all these things in without feeling some kind of, oh, but no, I'm trying to do all these great things, right? But for some reason, I don't have time for all of them. So now you
Can't do
stress
it all.
yourself. Yeah. So I think it's just about, okay, what do you want to do today or this week? What do you want to work on this week? You know, because I think it's important to have a routine, but in that routine, you have to allow flexibility depending on how you feel, you know, your mood, depending
Your
on what's
goals.
going on in your life,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like this. So I think a balanced lifestyle is the ability to be flexible and always kind of, it's like you have a bag of all the good things you want to do, right? And I'm not talking about the bad things, because we're talking about trying to have a balanced lifestyle, okay? So it's about adding good stuff, right? Good habits. And so for me, it's like I have a backpack of all these good habits I'm trying to include in my daily life or my lifestyle or my routine. And depending on how I'm feeling during the week, I'm like, oh, do you know what, this week I'm taking in that bag that I want to do that, you know, I'm taking it out of the bag that I want to focus maybe more on breathing or more on meditation, you know. And the following week, I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, last week I did meditation. It felt great, but I didn't get a chance to roll really because I was like working out more. So maybe this week I want to stretch, you know, I want to focus on stretching. I want to, no. And I think it's a nice way of, like we said, keeping yourself balanced and at the same time just not feeling like, oh, I have all these things and how can I fit them all in like during the day or during the week so I can make them all like journaling, like, you know, because when you do that, when I think about that, I'm like, you would not need to work. If there was like, sometimes I really think about the idea of if we didn't have a job, right, we would be, I used to believe that we would be completely bored, but I'm like, do you know how long it takes to take care of yourself? If you have to
Bruh.
stretch, meditate, breathe actually properly, eat well without watching anything and taking your time to eat, you know, exercise, workout, go for a walk, go be in awe in nature.
Literally be conscious of your whole existence.
Yeah, just
like,
take care of your body, take care of your mental, take care. Like, you would not need to work. It takes time, especially if you do it with the awareness, going slowly, doing it really like in the present moment. You would not need to work. It takes time.
I just want to offer our listeners a slight correction. So what I assume what you mean by one would not need to work is that you meant to say that it's almost seamlessly impossible to work if you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like this because it takes time. It's time consuming. It's actually so I can empathize and I understand when people say, "Oh, but I don't have time," because it is true that when you have a
24 hours.
yeah, you have a job, right? And
That's already like 8 hours, more for some people, 12,
yeah,
16.
yeah, and you have to go home, make a meal that's healthy, and then you might have children, and then you
or a partner, like
yeah,
there's dependence in your life, you have other
cats,
responsibilities,
dogs.
so you start taking removing effort from certain areas, and just because you're trying to balance everything. And sorry to interject, but I love the example you gave about the knapsack, your backpack. It's like you have all your tools in there, and every single day and every single moment you want to be able to use all of what's inside your backpack. When it's like, okay, this is my life circumstance right now or for the next 3 months, let me readjust, let me pull this out of my knapsack and this out of my knapsack, because these are the tools that are going to help me right now, whether that's okay, the timing of your work hours has changed, and if you continue on with the same routine you've been doing, it's gonna work. It might work against you.
Yeah,
it might not benefit you.
Yeah.
So you got to take those things. Okay, put it back in the knapsack, and let me take out the tools that are gonna work for me out of this knapsack, because, like, I think, and this one hits home for me because when you mentioned flexibility, I'm like, in my experience, I've definitely, I've been stubborn in a lot of things, where it's just
and Tauruses.
Yeah, literally a Capricorn is a sea goat with just like, 2 whirling horns, and then we got a Taurus with 2 short little devil horns on the side. Look at her. 2 short little devil horns on the side.
Red.
As soon as they see red, they start charging. Versus goats are on like the steepest mountain in all of the whole universe, and we're climbing up that thing, and constantly we're just like bumping our horns, just like, oh yeah. So I mean, we're both stubborn in our own way,
Yeah.
But in like what I meant in like the fitness and nutrition is, there have been a lot of moments where it's just like either I'm telling myself, or sorry, I'm distracted by Leo and Cece. You know it's Cece using the litter because she's always like,
yeah. Last night, oh my God, last night
long.
Last night she was in there like, and I was like, first of all, I couldn't sleep because I am on my periods. Okay, so we need to do the 2 weeks review, but
oh yeah,
I'm on my periods, right? So I had a hard time sleeping because
I love how you just said that casually. I'm on my period, so
yeah. Listen, it's natural, just like
it's
you go
our
pee,
flowcast.
Yeah, first of all,
say what the hell we want.
Yeah, so whatever. Okay,
play
but
with
like
not with us.
Okay, I'm like trying to sleep, right? I can't because I'm always going to the bathroom because obviously, like,
Yeah.
And then and the little time I'm trying to sleep, then
you
she
hear
goes
Cece.
And I wanted to
like
yell,
she's digging for
"Shut the
treasure,
fuck."
literally. And when Leo's using the litter, because you
It's
barely,
so short.
it's like, and then he runs. All you hear is, but Cece,
It's
when
like
you think
this.
it's over,
It stops and then it goes back. It
Yeah, and
stops
I'm like,
and then it goes back.
anyways. So yeah, there've been many moments where I'll tell myself, oh, like, you really need to stop going heavy right now. Like, like, I'm very in tune with my body, and sometimes I choose to ignore them, because I'm so like stuck on a certain routine and I'm conditioned. And then there are moments where you'll tell me like, oh, like, just this week, just stretch and roll yourself. And I'll be like, oh, I didn't have time, blah, blah, blah. And I was explaining this to a colleague at work today, in which is kind of like, you have, I don't know, an hour and a half or 2 hours to do a workout, right? And it's like, oh, I have half an hour left. Okay, I'm going to fill it in with more sets or different exercises that includes weights. And, I like just go in more intense and then by the end of that, you're like, oh, I don't have any time to stretch, which is kind of like, you need to know when to be like, that's enough. or even if it's just coming in with a whole new plan and saying to yourself, my aim is I'm going to stretch 15, 20 minutes after my workout. I'm only going to be honest, sometimes you have to inflict discipline on yourself.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to say something.
I was like, so, because, I used to, obviously in the beginning, right? I used to see you going to the gym, and you always say, up until now you do the same. So you go to the gym, you say you'll be back at a certain time, right? But you're never really back at that time. It's always maybe an hour later, 30 minutes or an hour to an hour and a half. So, but it is true that now your workouts are shorter. Like before, it used to be you could be gone for like 4 or 5 hours. I'm like, what the hell is she doing at the gym for 4
I'm doing
or
my
5
apocalyptic
hours?
training.
Yeah, no, seriously.
People be like, what are you training for,
You
bro?
better
I'm like,
be in the army. I
would have done well in the army, and I keep telling you the story where it's like my siblings used to go to the cadet school or something like that.
Yeah,
I was too young at the time, and then when I became the age, like every single time my siblings, it was my older brother and sister, went, I was just like, oh my gosh, I want to go with them. Like I want to go, I want to be a cadet, And then when I turned the age, or maybe I turned the age in which your parent could send you. Oh, I was like, no. And who knows what would have happened if I went about that. I think I would have been a good sergeant.
Probably.
Whip these into shape. Be like, yes, ma'am.
Okay, no. Okay, maybe. You would have been a surgeon, probably. Maybe
I would have been fun, but when it comes down to serious business, we got to get serious.
Probably.
Sorry, I keep on interjecting.
It's okay.
Please finish your thought, my queen.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, you used to go to the gym for like 5 hours, etc. And I was like, what the hell is she doing? Like, how can a workout take this long, right? And in your mind, for you, it's healthy because you're going there, you're working out, right? You're just sweating.
I lose track of time.
Yeah, you lose track of time.
I am in a different zone.
You're clearing out your mind.
Yeah.
But for me, the person who's outside of it, I see it as, it might seem healthy, but in reality, I saw it as unhealthy because it's like, it's just taking too long. And then after that, when you used to tell me, oh, maybe you don't have time for certain things, I'm like, you do. It's just that you don't see. Else. Yeah, you prioritize something else. And so that's something that people do is that, oh, I don't have time for this. Yeah, no, you actually might. It's just that you need to be able to step back and actually observe how long you're taking. Let's say for you, it was the gym, right? Because for me, I go to the gym and I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend like 20 minutes walking on the incline, whatever. After that, I'm going to have 15 minutes maybe just to do sets of like 3 or 4 different exercise. I'm not necessarily on my phone scrolling, right? And some people stay at the gym longer because in between sets, they get lost on their phone or something like this, right?
I hate that shit.
Yeah. So the thing is...
Not judging, but I hate that shit. Get off your phone.
No, it's true. Because people also are waiting. It's a shared space, so people are waiting, right?
Yeah.
Especially honestly, if it's full.
Yeah, when it's busy, I'm like,
get
the fuck off your phone. I need to stop cussing on this podcast.
No, but
I'm like, get off your phone. You know? And sometimes like I see people like waiting and maybe they're too nervous or shy to ask someone.
It's like, fuck it.
You know, and I'm looking like, come on. Like,
I'll be like, you're on your phone, get the fuck out. Okay, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, so for
let's not go on another tangent, damn it.
Yeah, so for me, so what I have the ability to do, right, for me, is to like, I can see like a schedule. I can see like a timeline, and I'm able to be like, no, if I do this, it's going to take me more time. So blah, 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 blah. So I'm very, like, I do the same for the gym or workouts, etc. Like, I'm able to foresee how long it's going to take me approximately to do something. And if I say I go for a certain amount of time, I'm going to devise it in the way that by the time I said it would be done, it's done, right? So for you say you'll go for an hour with maybe that intention, but when you get there, you lose track of time. And so in that sense, there you go. You think you're doing something that's healthy. Meanwhile, you're pushing and productive. But then that also means it's...
eating out of something else.
Exactly. And something else that a lot of the time you want. But
Oh, yeah.
you think, oh, I don't have time, I don't have time. And I had the hardest time understanding that on my hand, because sometimes we bumped head about this when I was trying to tell you, oh, like, you do have the time, you just don't make the time.
And I'm
But
like, no, I don't have time. I gotta
exactly.
walk to the gym, and then I
Yeah.
gotta do this, and I gotta, and I'm
But you couldn't see it. Whereas for me, it's
Yeah.
like, no, she goes to the gym. You take your time, but if you want to do those other things that you say you want, you have to realize that, yeah, that time or that length you're taking at the gym, you need to organize it in the way that you're.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? I believe that, well, to be honest, me spending a lot of time at the gym in the very beginning was because the gym was like my safe haven. It was my therapeutic space. Like, I would deliberately go to the gym and tell myself, I am not talking to anyone, and I'm not there to make friends. Because if I make friends, then people will start talking to me, and it's going to eat up out of my me time.
When that
You know?
started happening, it did make her stay at the gym
Oh,
longer.
oh yeah. To be honest, because you get to know people, and sometimes I'm like, oh, like when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be a little bit late, and usually it's because someone wants to connect with me, and I'm really happy about those moments, because I never used to do that. Because number one, like I do have a little bit of like I'm an ambivert, you know, and I could be extroverted, but I'm actually quite shy still. You know, I have that, it takes me a while to warm up to people, to even warm up to an environment. And I never force myself, I never force to speed up that process, because it's inorganic, it's inauthentic to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in the very beginning, I think that definitely the change in length and my routine, my intensity, everything, you know, in my fitness life had a lot to do with my change in mind, like like my change in life, the things that I was going through. So like the gym for me and exercise was just my escape, and you know, I would like just run. You know, I'm running outside, I'm running on the treadmill, I have my headphones on, I'm listening to like my favorite songs or albums, and I'm just like, I'm lost. You know, and it's like I'm in this state of bliss, but at the same time it's like I'm imagining all these things that I want to accomplish in life. And it's like I honestly, especially when I'm running, it's like I'm not even there. Like, I know that my body is moving, you know, but mentally, like my inner eye, whatever that is like somewhere else. I'm like, I'm in a state of imagination, and we're just like, I used to run. Yeah, like I would run on the treadmill and start envisioning mentally like how I wanted to look like, where I was, how did my skin look, how did my hair look, what outfit, what was I doing, you know. So the period in which I met you, 2019, around 2019, 2020, when I would run on the treadmill, I would like be like, oh, this is how my hair is, and like I'm in this kind of like orangey, like kind of gold trimming thing, and I'm DJing, and I'm like, you know, and I'm DJing really good, and the people are vying, and it's like, those are the, like, you know, those are the things that kept me pushing. But anyways, to get back to the point, the change in length of my workouts and the intensity and style had a lot to do with just me growing as a person, for sure. And realizing that, oh, the reason that I would spend so long at the gym was because I always like to think that, especially when I'm running towards something. I'm not running away. So when I tell people like, oh, I love to run, you know, it's like, I mean, physically, it's like if you're running from your home to Jericho Beach, you know, it's kind of like, oh, I'm running away from home. And in a kind of sense, you're leaving home and you're going to a different period, you know, but it's like you're running away from something or running from something, but you're also running towards something. I'm running from home, but running towards Jericho. But that's in kind of like, if it's a kind of example, but I don't know if the listeners will kind of understand it in the way that I'm trying to project it. Yeah, so it just came with a change in mindset and realizing that, yeah, it's not that good for your body to be doing like, I don't know, 30 minutes high intensity cardio and then going and doing like an hour and a half or 2 hours of like high intensity weights, and you're doing cardio, you're doing legs, and you're doing core in one day, and you're doing your upper body in one day. Like it's a growing process inside the gym. Or in fitness, it's a growing process, you know? And that growing process, like with the experience you get from like being in the gym and learning about, I don't know, calories, nutrition, and like certain exercises and muscles and all that stuff. Like it gets paired with what's going on, like your life experience and lessons and wisdom in your personal life per se. So for me, it was a combination of two, where it's just like, I like grew differently in so many ways, and reflect back and be like, what the hell was I doing? Like doing all of that. But at the time, that's what brought me peace. So on that note, I think for some people who are in a similar space, they're just like, well, this is what makes me happy. This is what brings me peace. You know, so at that point, it's kind of hard to see that, oh, like this thing that is your happiness and your peace. Okay, well, something else that is maybe as more or equally important to you, you're frustrated that you can't put the time, effort, and energy into that, you know? So it's like compromise and trying to balance, you know? So yeah, you were 100% right in those moments, but like I couldn't see it.
It is tricky. You really have to force yourself to do it, because even me, when I think of like, oh, I enjoy doing so many things, right? I enjoy drawing right now. I enjoy being in the kitchen, right? I enjoy doing a lot of different things. And when I spend more time in the kitchen, it means I spend less time drawing. So I have to kind of force myself to be like, oh, hey, like remember, just go and sit there and do some drawing a little bit. You can do that, and then you can go in the kitchen, like, because I don't want to feel like, oh, I don't have time for this because I'm spending so much time there. And then, you know, because I realize when I go with huge intensity in one thing, then I tend to like completely let go of the other thing, and then vice versa. Meanwhile, I'm trying to merge them together, or being able to do both of them together, right? And I don't want to build frustration within myself, and so it's up to me to kind of be like, okay, well, yeah, just make sure you remember to go do this thing a little bit, and then you can go back to that. And then, you know, when you go back to that, just remember, oh, you can always go back to this thing for a couple of minutes, whatever, to balance it out, so I don't feel
Save
like, oh,
something for another
like,
day.
yeah,
Save something to look forward to.
Exactly, doing things like that. But it's also like, yeah, I guess it just comes with being like developing awareness, to be honest, because a lot of the, like, you know, and especially when you think about the gym, or when you think about food or things like this, you think that like for example, people think that going to the gym and working out every day is healthy, right? But it really realistically depends on the type of exercises you're doing or what you're doing at the gym, because it can, like you said, very quickly become unhealthy.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything is balanced. So something that is healthy, if you push it too much, becomes unhealthy. Just like for other things, right? So it's that thing where we also need to be able to pull the brakes sometimes.
Yes.
And be aware of it, and be aware of the intensity we're trying to look. And I think it comes from also asking ourselves, why are we maybe being intense? Like for you, you were going through things in your head, and your intensity came from there. And now that you've worked on it, so now you start seeing your gym. I was like, oh, I can do less, to the point where now an hour is enough.
Honestly, yeah, like on this note, there's another thing I want to mention. Hopefully I won't forget. But yeah, to be honest, yeah, like just lessening my workouts, the intensity, just like I said, having like a map of, oh, this is what I'm like. Before, I would have a hard time of being like, okay, I've done my 5 exercises, that's enough.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, I've done enough cardio. Like now I'm just like, oh, I'm doing warm up walk, I'm doing cool down walks. I'm walking backwards on incline for my knees. Like I'm thinking about a longevity, you know, versus in the past it's just like I needed an avenue, some type of thing that was gonna
Like
help
an
me,
exit.
an exit, something to funnel all of the energy I was containing within myself, with like the stresses. So it's kind of like, and that was beautiful for me too, because even till this day I'm able to like have that same intensity, but it's not coming from like, oh, family problems or this is this. It's just that I've condition my body to, you know, be intense when necessary, but not because of a kind of negative past moment, you know. And another thing is, so for example, you'll see, you know, people in the gym who they don't think they're skinny enough, or they don't think they're big enough, you know. So like you look in the mirror every single day and you're just like, oh, like my muscles are not defined yet, you know. Or I'm like, no, I need to be a little more skinnier, and like you have to ask yourself, well, where's that coming from? It's not wrong. And this kind of links a little bit back to our body positivity, like, you know, so I'm happy that one will come out before this one does, or either or, is that you have to ask yourself, like, why am I thinking these things? Because body dysmorphia is a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing.
You know, like people are like, oh, I mean, there's other people's opinions, you know, about whether you look good or not, and then there's your own opinion, you know. And to be honest, your own opinion does matter, but it is absolutely ideal and necessary to ask yourself, where is this coming from, you know. And again, in my experience, because I just have so many experiences and stories, so much just wisdom to share, is that, yeah, like there's moments where it's like I want to be like a certain weight, you know, or like I just want to be a little bit like skinnier, and so like cardio. Then I'm like, oh well, I don't like the way that I look. Like too skinny that's not me, you know. Even my mom was just like, are you okay? Like, you know, you're looking like, she's like, don't lose any more weight. You know what I mean? And you were telling me too, like, yo, you're going to look like a ghost if you lose them.
She looks like a chicken without the meat anymore. Someone ate it and it's the stick.
Seriously, damn. That's how you're going to do me like that on the flow cast. You're supposed to be like, it's okay, you're still a bomb ass bitch. You know, even though you look like a dry piece of chicken. and I mean, to me, like, I was just like, well, I like the way I look, but I was always like looking for ways to improve. But it came to a certain point where it's just like, okay, well, doing cardio isn't gonna get you the definition, or sorry, solely doing cardio isn't gonna get you the definition. You know, you need to get inside the, you know, the weight section and start lifting weights. And then you know, I really got into weights and I'm like, okay, awesome, I'm building the muscle and I'm seeing the definition.
Yeah, you were really excited about that.
Oh yeah. And then I was just like, okay, no, I need to define this. I need to grow this a little bit more. And then I got a little bit more muscular for my taste. And I was just like, no, I don't like myself like this, you know? And then getting those two experiences helped me find, I guess, like my ideal image, or just like, but that also comes with feeling, you know? Because what you think you see in the mirror, that comes with a feeling, you know? So it's kind of like, not only is it like, okay, I have the experience being like skinny and the experience being like a little like overly muscular for my taste, but with my physique now, there are still like little areas where she's like, oh, like I want to adjust this, I want to work on this, but it's not coming from, oh, I want to be like skinny, or I want to be like muscle, or I want definitions. Like I could work on my mobility, you know, like my intentions have changed. You know, the intentions for me personally have become a little bit healthier, where it's kind of like, oh man, like if I feel like my hamstrings, like, you know, because to be honest, like I got a fat ass.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
like, and I'm just
Okay.
like, let me tone it down a little bit, you know. Sorry, I meant a nice ass. it's
What?
a nice ass.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, she does.
And being
It
like,
belongs to me.
it belongs to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. First of all, nobody comes before the. just
It
like
doesn't even belong to him.
So being like, okay, well, I'm gonna like, do this to lessen it. And to be honest, I feel like I suddenly lost my train of thought because we made that joke. But anyways, I would get panicked. I think that's what I'm getting at. I would get panicked about all these small things, and I'm like, why? Like, am I trying to like I don't know, like my body is like a Barbie, and at the same time I'm the factory, and I'm trying to like make everything chiseled and perfect and ideal, and I had to explore like, where are those things coming from? Is it because like you see someone on Instagram, you see how their waist is, so maybe you want the waist like that. You see a different profile and you're just like, okay, well, like they're like quad ratio or glute ratio to the whatever. Like I feel like some of those things could come from just picking different pieces out of different images, and then you're trying to form this ideal thing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's about your intention, and especially, like I said, how you feel. Because even though I was skinny and I looked superb, for me personally, I'm just saying, I look superb in my clothing, I was like, oh, I don't really like myself like this, like, even though I look good in my clothing, and then having more muscle and be like, okay, well, I'm getting the definition, I'm getting the muscle mass, which is great, but now it's like, I don't really like how I look in my clothes, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, what is the intention behind what you're doing? Now it's just like, I just want to not have muscle tension and back pain and all that stuff. Sorry, that was a very long explanation.
What you're basically saying is that one needs to have the experience of seeing, because it's only when you had the muscles that you realize, oh, that's too much. And then you want to remove and go back to a little less. And when you're too skinny, you realize, no, I need a little more. So with the experience, you made the adjustments, right?
Yeah. But that was just my experience. I don't think it's necessary per se for someone to, have certain experiences to know what's ideal for them. I feel like it's not a necessity in the formula, right?
I feel
the
like
equation,
it depends on what it is, though. I feel like when you want for certain things, if you want to see what it'll be like, then doing it and seeing the result for yourself and be like, okay, yeah, this is not for me. Yeah. Then will help you kind of like know more about yourself and know more what you want because you've had that experience, right?
Yeah, well, 100%. I think like I said, I don't think it's necessary, but I do think it is highly beneficial. Okay. So if that's just on your path where it's like you've had this physique and you've tried this physique and that's okay. Yeah.
Okay, but now we've been talking about like the physical a lot, right? The gym, when it comes to, there's other like areas of like being imbalanced or balanced or imbalanced, right? Like for me, what I can think of a lot is, I think it is safe to say that everyone is pretty much stressed. And stress is the birth of a lot of diseases. Yeah. And especially because it starts in your mind. Like, all the stress you put on yourself and your physical body is because of manifestations that first happen in your brain or your head, or like ideas or something, beliefs you put in your head, right? So like for me, what I can think of, first of all, there was a period of my life where I was very stressed, and we both know that. And from the moment you met me to now, I'd say for the past year, maybe fully now, there's been like a big shift where up to recently, I was telling you, it's like scary how unstressed I feel, especially because, guys, I'm still out of a job, you know what I mean? So considering
she broke as hell.
That's not true. I'm never broke, okay?
Period.
The universe is blessing me all the time. All the time.
Money
with good
loves us.
things.
Money is attracted to us.
Yeah.
Money can't stop thinking about us.
Yeah.
Whenever money's lonely, it calls upon us. Money knows that we know what to do best with it. Those are the type of financial, what you might call those things that you listen to, mantras
I have the word in
I know, me too, and it's just
I
like
have the word right
I'm
there.
like, come on,
Yeah.
brain, come on.
Something.
It's okay. The
doesn't
listeners
matter.
know what we're saying.
Yeah, but so there was a point in my life where I was actually stressed, and now when I think back on it, I'm like, I thought I was healthy and I thought the stress wasn't that much, but now reflecting back, being unstressed to the point where I'm even like, bro, are you really not stressed right now? This is crazy. Were you really that stressed before? And now
sometimes I can't believe it either. I'm just like,
yeah, I'm like,
she's
but
really not stressed. This is great for me. Sorry.
But really, it's like I'll stress for a couple of like maybe a very short few minutes, right? And then I'll be like, at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do. Why the fuck am I stressing myself? I know two things. I know that one, if I can do something about it, then I'll just go ahead and do it, so I don't need to stress about it. And if I cannot do anything about it, I'll be like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. So just move on. Let the stress go, and everything happens for a reason.
Do we have an applause sound on this thing? Do we have an applause gig?
Which one is it? Let me try this one.
Oh, no. She was like, yeah, that whole bit was a joke. She's stressed.
3.
No, that's loud.
Oh, shit.
Do we not have an applause? Okay, well, honestly, this moment deserves an applause.
We tried everything.
Because I was, I almost started laughing a little bit because I thought you were going to say that, like the opposite. Because it'd be like, you're...
what do you mean?
I thought that you were going to say that...
that I'm
like
stressed?
back then you were only stressed for a few minutes. I'm just like,
Oh,
a
no.
motherfucking liar.
No.
Because I'm talking about I was only stressed for a few minutes.
No.
I thought, yeah, no.
I was stressed all the time, but I really thought like I wasn't like.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I was stressed all the time.
Thank you for admitting. No, I'm okay. The next day,
No, because
I'm not to call you out, but like I honestly I'm having a proud moment because, like, you saying all this is kind of just like it's so refreshing because I think to be honest, and we talk about this a lot, where it's just like we both had different types of lives. And just the way our lives were, our childhoods were, I think we could both agree that on the fact that I was able to, I don't want to say this in terms of levels, but without use of a better word, like I had reached a certain level where it's like things really don't bother me that much because I've been through the trenches.
You've had to grow up faster, and you were in a home environment that was a little unstable.
And just making that choice, be like, okay, well, I'm gonna build my own life. You know what I mean? Like I had faced so many different challenges at by a young age where I just was able to master my mind in that way. I'm not saying that there weren't things up to this very point.
Don't worry, there are things.
Okay? Like we're still humans humaning. But I was able to, just on my life experience, master that particular part a little bit earlier. And having those hopes are just like, one day she's gonna get there. And I would tell you, I said, one day you're gonna get there, and you're not even gonna realize when you get there. You're just gonna notice that you're doing things in a different way. Things aren't stressing. You're just like, when did I? And it just over time. And I think it's beautiful when you at least have someone in your life who's able to, be that voice, that voice of reminder that it's okay, allow yourself to be mad, but also that reminder was just don't attach your mind to this because it's if it's out of your control, it's like it's out of your control. Only focus on what you can control
But
and all
at
that
the
stuff.
time,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is kind of hard to understand on the moment too, because it's like what like especially when it comes about, let's say, money, right? Because a lot of people are stressed about money.
It's about conditioning your mind on
So it's
certain
like,
things.
how can I not worry? Like, I have bills to pay, or I have that to pay. Like, how can I be like, oh, the money's just gonna come? And it's not that I didn't understand it. Like, I understood it, right? Especially because some people say that, oh, I want the money to come. It's like,
But
I'm
there's
stressed,
no
but there's no action.
there's no execution, there's no
Exactly.
proactivity.
Exactly. So for me, it's like,
Lazy ass
yeah,
bitches.
I stress, right? But I still do the things. I still go about there.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
still
do-
work towards it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but it's just like on the moment it's like, it's hard to condition your mind to not be stressed about like money or other things, but in that example, money, just because in this life it's like you have bills to pay that comes at like specific dates. You have responsibilities. So sometimes when you're in a certain and like moment, it's like, yeah, I'm working towards those things, I'm working towards that, or finding solutions or whatever, but at the same time it's like, but it feels like nothing is coming. How can I not stress? How can I just believe or build the belief that it'll happen, right? But you have to also understand at that moment that you're going through this for a reason. And you have to simply believe, or have the belief that this is just a moment that is going to pass. And for me, I know I was telling you a lot of the times that, yes, I'm stressed, right? But deep inside, I know that there's something bigger for me. So even though the stress is there, it's like that first layer on the surface, but the core of me kind of knows that it cannot be it,
Yeah, to be honest, when you think about what conditioning is not easy. Though you have to train a dog, no?
Yeah.
When people go in the military, the marine, they get conditioned. Like, consistently in life, you are being conditioned. Either you're conditioning yourself or someone is conditioning you.
Is conditioning a lot of us, baby.
The FBI agent assigned to you is conditioning you.
Yeah, maybe they're listening to us right now. Actually, they are. Your phone is recording you, first of all, okay?
Yeah. So, like, the conditioning is not an easy process. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's waking up every morning and making your bed. That's conditioning as well. And sometimes you're just like, oh no, like, forget it, I'm gonna, but then you force yourself to do it, and it's okay to like simultaneously have the belief that you're capable of something, or that there is a brighter side to something, while also having that voice that may be saying otherwise. That's completely normal. It's just like, I'm sorry, but like life, there's both the positives and negatives in anything. So when people are like, oh, like I want to think positive, they stress themselves out because they believe that they will be only thinking positive. You will have negative thoughts all the time. It's what you choose to focus on. Like,
and you have to train yourself to focus
on that thing.
things.
Yeah,
And
the voices will always be there.
And you have to also train yourself to listen to the negative things.
Yeah.
Not be scared about them.
Yeah.
Just so that you can learn how your brain is thinking.
Exactly.
And you can correct what it you, because it's like rewiring. You want to listen to the bathroom. So that's what I started doing, right? I was like, one time I just decided, yo, I need to stop this. I need to be inside of my brain, right? Because remember, I used to sometimes I sing songs. You kind of you think several thousands of thoughts during the day, right? But the ones you hear yourself really thinking, for me, was kind of cutting myself to those thoughts and then singing, or like thinking, or like listening to things all the time, right? So you're not even aware of what your mind is thinking until I started deciding, like, yeah, I need to really listen to the thoughts that are coming in. So when I started doing that, I was like, wait, no, that's not what I want to believe, and that's not something I choose to believe. And I thought it would be hard. It was actually easy.
It's easier.
You just have to you just have to practice just building the habit of like, hey, remember, you need to pay attention to yourself right now.
Yeah.
Hey, remember, you need to pay attention to yourself right now. And very fast you pick up on like those thoughts, and very fast you're like, hey, no, I don't want to think like this. So okay, what's something that's more positive? Or I'd rather focus on this. And you mentally go through the process of like willingly being in your head, like willingly being present and listening and replacing your thoughts by just not saying, oh no, I don't want that, I don't want that. Just like, okay, I see that and that's not how I want to think. Let me just think of something more positive. I don't even have to change it. Just let me put my attention on something more positive. And you realize the more you practice that, the more you start naturally going towards more of the positive thoughts and less of the negative. So you're still having both, but your mind is naturally now rewired
Drawn
to go to the positive thoughts.
Period.
And now that I reflect back, I'm like, I was trying so hard for a long time, and one day just, and I used to tell you that, right? I used to tell you, I try, and I tell you one day it's just you're going to see one day I'm just going to pick it up.
Because I've been through that process. I'm just like, one day it's going to happen for you.
Yeah.
So, and the key word in what you said, which I loved, is willingness. You may recall this example that I like to bring up a lot. The only way to overcome something is to face it. When there are two teams, when back then or whatever, when people go to war, I'm sorry, but are the teams or the opposing teams do they have their backs turned toward each other? Yeah. They don't. I'm sorry, but how can how can you overcome the thing unless you face it? You need to know which moves is doing. The opposing person likes to I don't know, try an uppercut and do that. You kind of, you start to learn and understand. You observe the moves, and you therefore how to move. Like that is the best way to overcome something. And like what you were saying with your mind, it's like you're now listening to your mind and you're learning how it operates, and what it thinks. And it's just like there's a reason, like, for example, when it says control your mind, why would there be a need to control your mind? You know what I mean?
I you know what it is? I realized that for a lot of the time, like if you reflect back on your life, where you are at that present moment, and you reflect back on certain events, right? For me, I was just able to notice, like, whenever I really needed something, wanted something, like whenever I needed help, something always happened for me. You know what I mean? And I just realized that, why should I have the stress? Because I realize now, when I look back, whenever I needed something, whenever I needed a job, whenever I needed help, whenever I needed something always happened. And so now when I'm stressed, I'm like, the only thing I know to remind myself is like, things happen for a reason, Michele. If this is happening, there's a reason. If hypothyroidism happened, there was a reason. And now I understand, is my whole food journey, it's where I am right now, it's because of hypothyroidism. If I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be here right now. So now that I look back, I'm like, you know what? It was frustrating. And it led me to be depressed, and it led me to a lot of emotions, and physically and mentally. But now I'm here, and I'm like, this is why it happened.
Yeah, there's opportunities to learn in every single thing, even the most minor thing that would fly over your head. It's just like, you got to train your mind to look for those things. So my question for you is, now that you obviously realize the reason that led you up to embracing a plant-based lifestyle. How does it, can you correlate that to your balanced life now? Like, how does that add balance in your life?
Oh my God. I just feel like, so how does it add balance to my life? It's a little tricky because sometimes it feels like it's a little too much, only for the reason that, it means, because now you start paying attention to everything that goes in your body. I've had to re-educate myself on food, right? So it means you have to research, you have to learn new foods, or like learn new about new grains that you didn't know before. And initially it feels kind of challenging, or it feels like a big thing because it's all new and you're like, oh, but I don't know about other grains. I don't know how to feed myself in a different way. But then you realize there's nothing complicated about it. It's just you open yourself up to shopping differently. That's it. You buy the things because I realized every time we used to go to the grocery shop, we were buying the same things. And now I'm more like,
Yeah.
oh, last week I bought this week let me try to see something different. I see something I don't know, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna go on internet.
You do that.
Exactly. And I'm gonna be like, oh, so what is this and how do I cook it? How do I get it? Like, you know what I mean? It was actually so simple, but sometimes it still feels hard, in the sense that, like we were talking about earlier, it's this thing where you add on a new good habit and then you go fully in, then it means you let go of the other good habits, and now you have to learn back the balance, right? But a plant-based lifestyle, especially for me right now, it means I'm spending a lot of time in the kitchen, right? Prepping the foods or making sure we eat healthy. So making sure like I'm paying attention to like, making sure we have enough fruits, making sure we have enough vegetables, making sure we have our teas. And that takes preparation. So that might feel overwhelming for others, right? I know I've had people who are like, oh, I don't know if I could do this. Or especially
I mean,
if
in the
you
beginning,
go raw.
you didn't know if you could be in the kitchen for longer than
I didn't
5
even
minutes.
I didn't even like cooking or being in the kitchen at all. So it's amazing where I am right now, because now I can
Michele
spend my
be
day
cooking, yo.
I can spend my day in the kitchen now without feeling like it's a chore.
Shit, sometimes I gotta be like, can you take a break?
Yeah.
Can you sit down?
So you know what? That's my other thing for
But
me.
I benefit off of it.
Yeah. That's my other thing for me. For me, where I need to pace myself is this almost addiction like, where I do this thing, right? I'm in the kitchen, I really enjoy it, and you have to be like, oh, make sure you take a break. And this is the same for maybe when I started drawing, right? When I start drawing, I really sit myself down. Sometimes I don't want to let go of the paper, but it's late and I know it's past a certain time and I need to go to bed, but I almost can't. I have to force myself.
Yeah, it's like
so,
it's like you know that if you continue drawing, then that takes away from the amount of hours that you need to sleep, and you know yourself well enough that if you just get
tired.
5 hours of sleep,
it's not good.
It's not gonna work out well for you. You're gonna be cranky. You're gonna be bitchy. You're just not gonna feel good.
So that's the thing, you have to learn to kind of like pace yourself in that way. So
and ask yourself if what you're doing is worth it.
Yeah. So
in the moment.
I definitely recognize that with the so like I said, with the plant-based lifestyle is especially because it's not just plant-based, it's also raw, so it takes preparation, right? And I know having conversation with other people is like, oh, I don't know, but don't you have to prep a lot of things ahead of time? Yeah, it is, right? Because if I make the homemade milk, I need to soak the nuts the night before or in the morning. To do it in the evening, I need to blend the milk together, I need to strain it. So it does take time out of the day, right? So sometimes it might still feel like, oh, it's a lot. But at the same time, I remind myself that, but I love it because it's healthy for me. And I know that when I eat it, when I drink it, it's going to feel good. But it is true that if on top of that you have the work, if on top of that you have the gym, if on top of that you have your social life, it can feel like a lot. So that's where you want to like have an equilibrium where you're like, okay, well, like, okay, today I do the best I can and in the kitchen, so that tomorrow I can see my friends, so that the next day I can take a rest day where I don't even do that. I do something plain and simple. I don't care. And
you make adjustments, and to be honest, on the other end where it's just like, I I'm not making meals anymore like you are doing
Yeah.
everything, and I love it, you know. But and at the same time, it's like
But it's
you'll
because of
make,
what? Our schedules
yeah,
too.
our schedules. And I also find that you try to make a bunch of things, you know, so then that means that the next day you don't have to make too much things, and you know. And for me, where it's just like, you know, like I want some snacks, I'm just like, okay, she made this, like there will be like 3-4 different things, and then there's gonna be salads, and there's a whole bunch of fruit, and then we have smoothie bowls and all that stuff. So you do kind of you prepare for a few days ahead, if that means that the
Next
following
day,
days you could do, you could afford to do
something else.
less. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
it
do
actually works out, because if you like, you for the milk, right, whether you soak it the day before, you soak it the day of, like maybe like, okay, well, this is going to be a lot of work, I'm going to do this thing instead. Like you tailor things, you know, in regards to like your day and your energy as well. Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, oh yeah, sometimes I still notice that, oh, like I said I wouldn't do this, but I do it because I'm like, and then after, like, I'm like, oh, I didn't have time to do the other thing. So I still need to remind myself, like, oh, like, you
I'll
know,
be
pace
reminding
yourself,
you
pace
too.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing in this is, yeah, we've had, like, it's even balance in our relationship is that, yeah, Ash ends work at a certain, like, later, right around 8 p.m.
And I have class in the morning.
Exactly. So I've had to be okay with the schedule and be like, okay, well, it means I have to be the one mostly cooking in the beginning, right? So that's how I took on like the cooking, and then now it became where, yeah, now it used to be a little problem in the beginning because obviously I didn't like to spend time in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
But then I came to a point where I recognized, yeah, she can't because of her schedule, right? Even though you enjoyed it more than me, it's like, yeah, she can. So I started slowly enjoying making meals, right? And then now it became to the point where I can barely let her in the kitchen because now I'm the one in the kitchen.
The whole kitchen is rearranged to someone else's taste, and I find myself being like,
Where's this?
Where
Where's
is
that?
like what the? So I've got to be like, babe, where is this? And you're like, oh, it's in there. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's
You know, and to be honest, that is your space. That is,
yeah.
you know, I know I could go in there and cook and stuff, but like with timing, you know. And I tell myself, oh, I want to learn how to make the cereals. I want to learn how to make the crackers and stuff, because when I want a snack too, you know,
Yeah, you should be able
I'm
to
gonna
make
go
it.
make myself a snack.
Yeah,
you know. But I
definitely.
love the fact that you be making everything, and I'm just like, look at her go.
No, but you know, and
You
we've
continue. Let me enjoy.
we've had a hard time finding balance,
Balance
right?
there, yeah.
Because okay, so we've been together for 5 years, right? But it's like we took in a relationship, it's gonna be a while where you find like the middle ground, what's okay, like your balance.
Yeah,
Right, you have to test things and oh, it's not working. Also, let's try another thing. Oh, it's not working, and you get to a point where you naturally find your space. Where Ash used to cook and I used to do other things, and then slowly we met in the middle, and then slowly we transitioned to now I'm in the kitchen and she's doing other things, and now I'm comfortable with it entirely to the point where it's like I consider it almost my space, and you're like, okay, well, she's good there, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before
it would be problematic.
It would
it's
be
like with the plants,
problematic.
I'm just like, you are so good with the plants. If I try, like, I might kill these plants, you know, like you, like where your strengths are, I'm going to let you have your strengths, you know, where your weaknesses are, that's where I'm going to pick up,
that's
you
what
know,
it
and I
is,
feel
yeah.
like, yeah, that's definitely what happened, where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, with everything that's changed, because everything is in constant, like, you know,
Yeah,
change and
yeah.
flux and whatever, and it's just all about like just readjusting, so you guys, so you stay balanced, right? And we got to a point where it's like, oh, this works for me
Now
you
we're
know, and
pretty
this, like,
established, like
yeah, and I'm sure things eventually will change again, and
should
all we're
still-
gonna do is just readjust again.
Oh yeah, when you're gonna be done school and you get like, let's say, a new job, right? It's gonna be different again. So now you adjust, but then because we're more balanced now, we're in like a state of like we're flowing now. You know, you
We
climb
might
and
keep
then you
things
get
the
to a
same.
flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so naturally you readjust. And I notice every time we travel and we come back, for me, it's like there's a shift. Something changes. It feels like It's like you take on a habit before you go somewhere, and then when you come back, that habit, now you're not doing that, you're doing something different. It's still good, but you're just doing it differently or something different. For me, every time we travel, or every time you travel and I stay, it kind of throws me off a little bit my balance until I catch back and am able to kind of reestablish, like,
Sorry, every time I travel and you stay, you said?
if I travel alone, or if you travel alone, or if we travel and come back, there's always a shift for me.
Oh, yeah, because now instead of worrying about feeding two people, you just have to think about yourself. Even that, in a sense, people would be like, oh, my gosh, it's so great. Just focus on myself. You know? But even that's a change, because then I come back and it's like...
And then I'm like,
okay.
slower to get
I got to pick her up. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know?
No. Every time it changes, it's so weird. It's always been like this for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I try to, like, just to kind of relate this a little bit more to the fitness side, or personally for me, I try to be consistent with, like, how, if for example, if I go to the East, you know, like, I'm still going to exercise, because it's just like I want to keep everything the same, because if I don't move around, you know, for I think the max, I could be lying here, but I think, or inaccurate
3
here,
weeks.
like, I think that the max, really 3 weeks?
Europe.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
to be honest, like, I didn't like that, because when I came back, I had to re-get, and then you come back, feel like, you know, eating all that bread and cheese and, you know, the biddies were busting, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
She took on some cheeks, y'all.
I listen, I've always had a little bit of cheeks as
But
like
we
a,
ate good,
as a
though.
kid.
It was good food.
Yeah, it was good food. Like, I was living
I
my
think
best life.
you put
you
on
know?
easily too.
Absolutely. I know
Yeah.
the areas of my body where if I have a certain thing consistently, whether it's carbs or whatever, I know exactly where it's going to go. So I limit myself there. I'm just like, I do not want to deal with big ass titties. I'm sorry. I'm not dealing with that shit no more.
I can't. No, I can't. I don't want big ass titties. No, it's too much.
But
I
yeah,
don't want no BBL too.
No BBLs. No BBLs, DBLs, ABLs, and ABCs. You know, I'm just making it up. But yeah, I try to, just mentally for me, I try to keep things consistent. So obviously, like, there's a treadmill at my mom's, right? So I go on there.
Yeah.
You know, I try to keep my eating habits the same, so that when I come back, it doesn't feel like I have to readjust, because you know, I know what that feeling feels like, and it's like, it's just better for me personally if I do it that way. For some other people, you know, they do things differently, and that's okay, but this is what works for me. So I just wanted to relate that to more of the fitness side.
It's funny because it makes me realize that the next time we kind of travel, since now we're fully established in our, like, mostly raw, like, right now we're in our cleanse, right? We should probably enter the, like, review, whatever.
Yes, we should.
But right now we're in our cleanse, and so we're eating completely raw. But it's like, oh, now next time I travel somewhere, let's say I go to my dad's or my mom's, like, how is it going to be? Because I know for sure I don't want to, like, I know for sure I need to maintain, like, it's like it comes with the habit, right? Now you're so used to eating a certain way that, yes, I know that if I travel,
a little.
I know that if I travel, I can do this and that, especially if it's Europe, the food is generally better than here or the US, right? But it's like, okay, I can afford to eat some other things, but still,
Watch all the Americans
I don't want to come
sinning.
back. Yeah, I don't want to come back and feel like, oh, I've been thrown off balance so much that it feels hard. So now I feel like when you get to a certain level of your habits, right? When you travel and you come back, you kind of keep the same.
Yeah, or you have a threshold. You know that, okay, I'm allowing myself and giving myself permission to do these things, but I know that if I indulge a little too much in this particular thing and this, then it's gonna set me off.
So you're constantly making sure you're constantly balanced. Like, okay, like, give yourself some room to do this, but okay, come back, and then okay, give yourself some room to do, and then come back, so that you're not feeling like, oh, I'm completely diving in there, and it feels so hard to go back to the other side, and then completely on the other side, and it feels so hard to go back to.
I feel like also when you're accustomed to a certain lifestyle that you're in love with, like food wise. it's like you can enjoy certain things, but you're always going to be kind of like thinking of just the way that you eat. So
because now
know,
because now we're no like, we know if we're gonna eat certain things, oh, I don't want to eat it because I know it's gonna make me feel like shit.
It's
you
gonna
know,
affect
so
my
now
sleep, it's gonna give me acne, my energy, blah, blah, blah.
So now because we're thinking about that, I think it totally changes everything.
But the thought of it is in a positive sense. It's not in a punishment sense.
Oh,
it's
no.
just like, oh, we just like, oh, like, do I really want to have low energy like for the rest of the day? Not really, because I want to enjoy the rest of the vacation. So let's not have this.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because it is a quick and easy decision to indulge.
Well, now, you know, now I could, okay, so if we enter the cleanse right now, because, okay, you know, last time with Victoire, right, you said you ate some things, and I was like, I knew it, because your tummy was hurting. So the next day after that, it was a Monday, because we were recording on the Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So I was craving something, I told you, right?
Yeah.
I was craving something. So Ash thought that initially, because she told me, it was like, oh, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to feel like, to develop or start like a craving for something, right? So I explained to her that it wasn't necessarily her. It was at that time, like, I just craved something different because we had just spent like, 3 weeks really eating like just salad and fruits. That's it.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, no oil whatsoever. It's just really salads and fruits. And if we eat a salad, it's with lemon juice and water, kind of like very minimal things, and proud of ourselves. And at the same time, I just wanted like a taste of something different. It's not that I wanted like a sweet thing, a savory thing, or like something fatty. No, it's just that I wanted
a new taste.
A new taste, right? And so it took me 30 minutes or more to really decide where I was gonna go. And even that place I went, I just was like, you know what, let's just go there. I'm in the area, just because I was so tired of thinking about it. Because now I was like, okay, but I don't want something that has cheese, right? I don't want something that has dairy. I don't want something that has meat. I want to make sure it's vegan.
That's so true.
But I want to make sure it's also gluten-free, because if it's not gluten-free, I know it's gonna impact my stomach. Like, it took me so long.
That's so true that happens, because like even for today, when I ordered my smoothie bowl, like typically like Body Energy Club is going to be my go-to, but I have thoughts where it's just like, okay, like let me get something green. Then I'm just like, oh, like Steve's Poke, but I'm like, oh, the rice. Oh, but then they have the sauce, and then the corn and the beans. Like, I know what that's gonna do. You know, I mean, we're eating some certain vegetables, of course, but like I find myself just like, you know, like, no.
It's
and I'm
harder.
like, okay, let me go to Body Energy Club, because, you know, like, you actually, like, I'm going through and I'm looking at all the things, and I'm just like, no, maybe, no. And then I just be like, fuck all this shit. Let me go to and let me just go and order what I usually order, you know, because it like, it makes me feel better about my decision, you know, like, even if it's like there's a little granola in it, I'm like, oh, like it's a hemp granola, or, you know, you could add some activated charcoal, add some almond butters, you know, get your healthy fats in or whatever, right?
So guys, also just so we initially started with just fruits and vegetables, right? Nothing else, no oils whatsoever. We're still on no oils, but what we added was like nuts, just because after that moment I was like, like we could just be raw. Let's be honest, we could do this cleanse being fully raw.
There's different types of cleanses. You make the rules.
Yeah, exactly. So we're like, oh yeah, maybe we're missing some other taste, etc., but did not want to cook whatsoever, because that's not the point of the cleanse right now. I'm like, oh yeah, we can fully do raw, but we're not using any oils whatsoever.
We're not cooking anything.
Yeah, we're not cooking anything, so we're making just everything raw, and
I like how you're saying we're making.
I'm making,
because
Michele
is making all types of
chef.
Desserts, like
healthy.
Is it healthy to like raw?
Raw healthy, yeah.
Listen, y'all. I'm living my best life right now. Ain't nobody gonna steal this bitch from me, okay? Any one of y'all try to come and ruin my situation, you're gonna end up a situation.
She means it too.
Dead ass.
So
I
yeah,
mean,
so
good
now,
over here.
yeah, no, honestly. So now we just got the dehydrator too, and I'm just like, I feel never cooking this bitch. I'm never gonna cook anything
And
again. I'm
literally
gonna dehydrate
last night, because I mean, we've been contemplating about like, oh, like when to get the dehydrator, blah blah
For a
blah,
while, yeah.
and up to the point where last night I was just like, honestly, if it's gonna make your life easier, if you're gonna be able to make things faster, it's gonna make the whole process easier. Let's get the dehydrator, you know. And, you know, it just sitting there like, should I? And, you know, to the point where this is a funny moment where Michele was just like, God, please, if you could give me a sign that I should get the dehydrator. And I said, bitch, get the dehydrator. I am the sign that God has sent. I told you like 5 times. If it's going to make your life easier, just get the dehydrator. I'm like, up to the point where I'm just like, okay, well, why don't you sleep on it? Because there's one left in stock, right, that you could pick up. Why don't you sleep on it? When you look at the website in the morning, if it's still there, get the dehydrator. Just point of the fact is, get the dehydrator. You know, talking about, Lord, if you could give me a sign that is loud and clear. And I was sitting like 10 inches away from you,
And she
give me a
said it-
sign, give me a loud sign, and I'm like, bitch, get the hydrator. And look at how happy you are posting on your story, be like, yeah, I got the dehydrator.
No,
Listen,
I
you're
came
so
home-
funny.
Listen, I came home with the dehydrator.
I know you did a happy dance and everything. I know you called your mom. I know you said, you're like, Mama.
No way, no. Today I was so happy. I was
I know.
I looked at it. I was like, this is like the happiest day of my life for a dehydrator. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the second best purchase with the juicer. It's like these two, and it's like, it's not about the material thing, it's about what it can do,
what it's gonna do for you in your life. Like it's going to free up time for you in the kitchen and allows you to do a bunch of stuff.
It's just the excitement of being like, all these things I don't know how to do, and like, you can make cereals, you can make biscuits, you don't have to cook them, you can, and like, I'm so like, I'm like, it's like, oh my God, this is so interesting.
And we got a 6-rack one, so you could make a bunch of things at the same time.
So I'm like, oh, watch me make like the flatbreads or the wraps, like, you know. And what I
you
love,
make anything you want to.
yeah,
okay,
and what
I'm gonna eat it,
obviously. And what I love about it is that you're getting the full nutrients because you're not cooking it.
Yeah, you're not putting in the oven.
Yeah, so I'm like, ooh, I'm excited for all the possibilities. But regardless, it's like, yeah, so now our cleanse is just fully raw, you know. I'm still not using oils, even though, guys, we're starting to bake stuff, and we're thinking of, like, you know, giving some baked goods away, right? So
I'm like, what's do we tell them? I'm like, or do we save it?
no, I'm just baking stuff, and I'm hoping to, like, you know, give it to some people right around,
the
and
right
having,
people.
yeah, the right people, having them test whatever. Yes. so
Anybody that got money is gonna get some free treats.
yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding.
Deadass.
I'm just kidding.
But that's the thing. It just hit me that, oh, I'm on a cleanse, and obviously I quit my job, guys. Yeah, so I'm at home, right? So I have time during the cleanse to explore raw, no bake stuff that are with whole foods, and so I just figured it would be the best time, as in the cleanse I have to make everything healthy, and so I'm like, oh, let me just find
Not
a way.
half. You want to.
Yeah, I want to, and I make healthy desserts for us that are based like whole foods,
So
that
good.
we
And
can have
listen,
during our
like,
cleanse. It's amazing.
all of the things you've been making, I just feel like amazing, because I know, wow, there's no sugar,
Guilt-free.
there's no refined or processed or some hydroglycerol peroxide, whatever, all those like the glycerin chronic, I don't know, all these chemicals that are like the preservatives and stuff.
You
and
almost said a
makes
Cat
me-
William one.
Oh yeah, hit the
Cryptochronic cola-like
Yeah.
or something. Yeah.
When you smoke this, you go deaf. What? Yeah, it's such a good feeling, especially for like if you want a snack. It's like eating. It's just like, I know, like it. I
Yeah.
prefer over a Snickers bar. You know, it's just really amazing what you could make. Like sometimes people assume that, oh, something that's healthy is gonna taste like trash. It's
Yeah.
really not. You know, you have to
You have
experiment
to
and
make
like,
it taste good too.
yeah, to tailor it to your taste first of all. And listen, the things that we've been eating, I've just been like, oh my goodness, like
I wish
continue
I
cooking.
knew.
Continue cooking.
I wish I knew.
Yeah, continue cooking. Get that dehydrator, damn it.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so to finish, because you have to study, right? So
Yes, I got things to do.
we've been on like that cleanse for like what? We're crazy. We're almost mid-February.
Yeah,
Isn't
next
that
week.
crazy?
I mean,
This week.
Damn.
Holy shit.
So it's been a good month and a half.
Yeah, and yes, and we're starting our liver detox tomorrow. We've been on a parasite and a colon cleanse, so now we're gonna start
The
our
shitter
liver
tea.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll make the tea. I didn't have time today, but that's besides the point.
It's
So
okay. I understand you were busy baking and stuff.
yeah, so now the thing is, right? We've been in this for like 6 weeks, right? About 6 weeks. How do you feel about that whole experience so far? How do you feel like you've grown? How has it benefited you thus far? Like what is there something that you have a change you see or something?
Well, like I've always been saying, I really enjoy the way that we eat. I love it. I don't experience cravings, you know, and there's being in Vancouver, there's options galore. You know, if I really want, the Uber is at your fingertips.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and the fact that I could go on Uber Eats and I'm not even thinking about like, not to say that I was always thinking about like pizza, Chipotle, and all this stuff.
Sometimes
It's
I
just,
think of a pizza, but it's like, oh yeah,
yeah,
okay,
who doesn't
you know?
love pizza?
It's
Like,
that
listen,
thing where it's
I'll
like,
eat a whole pizza and go burn it off the next day. I
yeah,
swear to God.
yeah,
like,
that's true. She would do that. She would
like-
do that. She'll be like, okay, let's eat it. I'm going to the gym.
yeah, literally, because it's just like, okay, well, it's out of sight, out of mind. Like, you know, it makes
Yeah.
you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love the way that we're eating. And like, although the times that I've eaten outside of our cleanse, like whether it's like a coffee, like I go on campus and I get a coffee, but their best option is almond milk, you know what I mean? Like I don't punish myself for those things.
Oh, no.
You know, like obviously because we're cleansing, you know, I think that the last Flowcast about body positivity, when we gave our last update about the cleanse, I talked about like the reactions in like my skin because it's purging, right? And obviously when you're trying to clean something, it's like you're emptying a bucket of clean water, but at the same time you're entering like the dirty water in there. It's just like it's just not working, you know. So I've really just been like, oh, you know, like, yeah, I need to be more strict, you know, but not out of a place of being hard on myself, just out of a place, more of it out of a place of love, because it's like,
It's
like,
not easy.
like, yeah, it's definitely not easy. Like, there are definitely moments where like maybe if my coworkers like have a treat or something like that, or like a member has brought something, it's kind of just like, well, yeah, I'm gonna have one, you know what I mean, or I want one, you know. But then you have to know what you're getting into. So for me, it's kind of just like, okay, I know that like I might develop like a little bit of acne, or like the acne that I've kind of like that's developed or is coming out, like it may take a long time for that to go away, you know. So with every decision you have to think, is this gonna stumble by progress, or is it gonna like enhance my experience or something like that. So the way that I've grown is, I don't know, to be honest, I think the key word is just balance. The key word is balance, because I'm never hard on myself, whether I'm
You've
being
let
super
go
strict
of some
and like,
things, and that
Yeah.
feed you, and you know, this kind of thing. You definitely, I can see how you feel a little more free.
yeah, definitely. I feel more free mentally, and yeah, I think one thing I struggled with was the keeping up with the teas.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, in the morning I'll have like the horsetail tea and the celery juice, and then in the evening the parasite and the colon cleanse, aka the shitter tea, you know. And then on top of that, you know, we have to have dinner and stuff, and then like sometimes it just feels like so many.
Because keep in mind that she's gone in the morning and she is at school and then at work, and she can't carry all the bottles, right?
Yeah, like I hate to carry. I don't like carrying a lot of things on me, so I've really learned to just like minimize, like, and know like exactly what I need. Just going back to balance, like it's also knowing like what you need for the day. You don't have to carry what like the whole week's worth of what you need. Just like whatever for that day. If that means like making yourself feel lighter, if that's important to you, that's part of balance. You know, so I've really been, you know, getting adamant again about, you know, taking the teas. Like up to last night, I was like, oh, it's late, and I'm like, oh, I want to go to bed, but I'm going to commit to these teas. And I stood right there and I was just like, okay, that's one. Okay, the next one. And then after that, waited a couple minutes, and then I was able to just like, you know, sit up in bed until the point where like I was just reading my book, you know, and once it's done, it's done. But thus far, a month and a half into the experience, it's been really beautiful. I think this isn't just a cleanse about food. I think it's a cleanse of mind. It's a cleanse of spirit. And I've seen myself just develop and change in really, I don't want to say strange, but like to kind of like amplify what I'm trying to say, really strange ways where it's just like, it's just, I don't know, it's beautiful for me to experience, and I'm sure it's beautiful for other people to experience as well. And I've really like I'm connecting with a lot of people, and it's really nice. And I think that just, like I said, it's just a bunch of things. It's not just food, it's not just exercise, but those things are incorporated inside the journey as well. So yeah, I don't think that just because what we end, like when we'll end the cleanse, I don't think that when we'll end the cleanse, it'll kind of be like, okay, well, I'm going to have pizza there and this, because I'm just like, I actually don't fancy those things. You know, do I love pizza or just cheese and tomato sauce in general? Yeah, I'm a whore for pasta. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's not like I don't have that craving or that desire to indulge in those things. You know, if I desire it, I make the choice of whether I want to commit to that desire or not. You know, but it's not coming out of like needing it, like like you know, some people have a hard time with that. You know, so yeah, that's my update. Okay. Yeah. How has it been for you? Like, how has this past 2 weeks and just overall the month and a half of doing the cleanse? Like, of course, like a lot of things have changed. Like we've incorporated nuts and everything. Yeah. And sorry to continue again, but like it's been really nice to have the diversity and like the flavors and what we could do. I think it's been a game changer for us. Yeah. You know, but now we're doing a little pull back, a little switch to a little more like fruits and vegetables to kind of have more balance.
Just because, girl, I'm on my period. I'm trying to chill this week. As soon as it's done, I'm going back to the kitchen. No, but well, I think so. First of all, when I had that, so I went and I got like a banana bread, right? And 4 days, that was a Monday, and on a Friday morning, I got a cold sore. And I was like, what is it? It's the banana. And I knew it was the banana bread because in 3 weeks, that's the only, and by the time I got it, the cold sore, it was 4 weeks, right? By the time I had that cold sore, I was like, that's the only thing I've gotten that's like out of what we're eating right now. Yeah. So and it's like immediately, out of the blue, immediately I got a cold sore. So first of all, it told me that I'm definitely, my body's purging and reacting to this thing because it's completely different, right? And second of all, I still got some parasites in there.
And they celebrated that day, yes!
Yeah, they were like, yes! so they gave me
Go
a little
ahead, eat
cold
that
start.
sugar.
Yeah.
Have those carbs, eat
because
that flour.
remember on December we were eating like a lot outside, right? And I got a cold sore, and it was bigger, right?
Oh yeah,
But
that one was crazy.
But the ones I had before, since we started like changing the diet, they were now getting smaller.
Yeah.
But in December,
And they didn't
it
even
got
develop.
bigger. Yeah. It went like under a couple of days, it was gone. But that one in December
That one was
lasted longer
crazy.
and it was bigger. I was like, yeah, it's definitely time for it. So now when I got
it
that
was
cold
given the
sore,
substance.
oh, stop it. Now, when I got that cold sore, it was again smaller and it left under a week. So I was like, yeah, it's definitely the banana bread, and definitely telling me that, oh, even though we're still on like the parasite cleanse, I still have some. And it was within that, like at the end of the 3 weeks, I was like, oh, we still have 3 weeks to go. So it's going to die down. It's fine, you know what I mean?
But it's what's in the banana bread. You know, if it was like some variation of a banana bread, like raw or something like that, I'm sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because I think
sugar, the milk, the hormonal milk,
it was
the cow plus milk.
It was gluten free, but it was not vegan. So there was like the refined flour, definitely sugar, you know, and definitely eggs. So I think it's the
and the lactose.
Yeah, I think it's the milk and the eggs most likely. The flour maybe not so much, but the dairy definitely. So after that, that's when I was like, okay, at home maybe we need to vary it so I don't start craving things, which could be normal, right? Because we've been pretty consistent. But I think in general, just to be fast for me, is just that it doesn't feel like a detox or a cleanse. It feels like a lifestyle now.
Yeah, it feels normal.
Yeah, it feels normal. I don't feel like I'm like, right now, for the until March, we're like, oh yeah, we want to eat raw and no cook stuff, right? Even though I use some canned navy beans, so obviously they're cooked, to make like what was I making? To make something, I needed to make something now I forgot. But
for a pastry.
I can't remember. Was that for the mushroom pate? Because I was trying that. Yeah. But regardless of that, that's the only thing. Like, I'm not trying to eat cook. We're not trying to eat cook, right? But the only thing that'll change once we're done is that I can stove top something, but it won't be anything crazy, because I feel like right now the way we're doing it is our lifestyle.
Yeah, it's really it's a normality for us right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
And like I said, like I love like my whole lifestyle, and like, you know, I told you that, like, you know, my cousin, you know, makes fun of you know, and I'm just like, no, like, I love the way that I eat. Just because I come up here and I have this doesn't mean that, like, I'm not a prisoner to my lifestyle. I have fully embraced and accepted my lifestyle. I love it, you know.
Yeah, people
I mean,
think
of
it's
course
hard to eat. Like, people really
they think that like someone is forcing you, or you are like forcing yourself, and it's like, no, I really live like this.
Your taste
you know,
buds
and I love
change.
it. Yeah,
your taste buds change. They develop, and
it
they crave other things.
Yeah,
like,
and it doesn't mean that you can't have like other things. Like, for me, I know that when the time comes when I want, you know, some deep dish mac and cheese with triple cheese cheddar, like, I'm gonna have that, because those are things I love. Or if I want a pasta, or if I want a lasagna,
but she's
or if I want
gonna
a
shit
pizza.
herself. She knows
Exactly,
that too.
but I'm gonna make that choice, knowing that I'm gonna suffer the consequences. Yeah. My body's gonna be like, go ahead and do it. Watch and see what happens.
Yeah, that's the
and I'm
only
gonna be
thing
like,
now.
okay, I agree.
That's the thing now. It's like, when you take the decision to go ahead and do it, you know you'll get some type of response.
Yeah.
And you gotta be okay with that.
Yeah, you gotta be okay
fine.
with it. Yeah, you know, for all the lactose intolerant people out there, or whatever your food sensitivities are, it's like, like, whenever I ate ice cream, I was never mad at myself. I was like, I know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, you could take lactose pills, of course, but you know, it's just like. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not.
I'm like, this is a part of the experience, suffering the aftermath.
Yeah,
but is it good for your ass?
Like, when you take when you decide to do that, don't go ahead and take then the pills, or take the pills before and do that. Just accept the consequences.
But then again, like, taking a lactose pill might be good for you, because is it really good to be just like,
don't eat the lactose? Why? But true,
people are eating lactose all the time.
What's in the pill?
I don't know, but we could research that.
Exactly. It's gonna, first
You
of all,
never know what's inside
it's-
your pills.
It's not gonna be natural, first of all. That's
The
all
only
I'm
pill
gonna
you
say.
need is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Okay, you don't even need that
I need
pill.
to stop doing that.
You don't need no pills. No Jesus, no Jesus pills. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
no Jesus pill's gonna help you, girl. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
break to you. That's so funny. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I feel like that's a great update.
Yeah. No, that was it. It's just, I think it's just our lifestyle, and we're happy.
Yeah,
And
for real.
food is not, we're not a prisoner to food. Trust me, we're out here.
Yeah,
eating.
we're not controlled by food. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, we're not controlled by food. And when we want something that's like, you know, I made a raw burger because I was craving something different. We had a burger. It was a
was
blast.
delicious,
It was
yeah.
delicious.
It was small. It was like
Yeah.
when you
Small, yeah,
when
yeah.
you eat it,
Yeah.
you realize that like in
Yeah.
your stomach it's small.
So next time I'll
but
make
it's
2
delicious.
for the both of us. Yeah.
Yeah,
just so
3
we-
for me
yeah.
though, please.
Yeah, 3. Look at how she requests things.
I make my requests. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So you know. Yeah. Flexibility, like we mentioned earlier.
Flexibility and
Adaptation
reflection
and reflection.
adaptation. Yeah.
Exactly, is what we
It's part
talked
of
about.
balance,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's a part of balance. And that is what we are doing with that detox as well. We're applying flexibility.
Adaptability
so
and reflection.
exactly. So on that note, we got to go because we
Yeah.
are busy people.
Yeah, we're busybodies.
Yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
go. So I have a
And I'm a
good,
nerd, so.
yeah, that's true. She is. Anyways, well, have a good evening, good night, good day, good morning, whenever time you're listening to this. And yeah, that's it. You got something you want to say? Last words? Last meal?
My
you
final
want?
words before I have to get my affairs in order. Yeah, those are the key words, you know. We're like, just continue. Like when you stop learning is when you stop growing, to be honest. So never take, could take things as they are and think that it's gonna work in every situation, so yeah. I don't know, that's it. Bye guys, good night.
Bye.
Good morning, good day,